Hello and welcome to week 3, part 1. This week we are getting into cube roots to get us ready for volume. So you'll see here is our cover page. I believe that we're actually taking off that due date. It's kind of confusing because the end of this week is this Friday. So if you can get it finished by then, that would be great. Next page or math to do. Read and complete the introduction, copy notes, or hole punch and put it into your notebook. We have the study notes, complete the assignments. Again, there are 2, and you have the optional challenge problem. Here is your multiplication and division table, will be at the end of your packet. And this brings us to our introduction for cube roots. So this says we know square roots. The square root of a number is the number when multiplied by itself equals the given number. Such as, here we have square root of 4 equals 2, since 2 times 2 equals 4. And then this next one is negative square root of 25 equals negative 5, since negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Okay, so, but what is a cube root? Well, it is the number when multiplied by itself, then multiplied by itself again. And so that equals the given number. So right here, cube root of 8 equals 2, since 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Over here, we have the cube root of negative 8. So that's going to be negative 2, since negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is negative 8. When we had square roots, we had a negative times a negative equals a positive. Well, here we're adding a third time, so it's going to be a negative. So it does matter if it is positive or negative. Okay, so here we have perfect cubes. Are numbers that can be written as a cube of an integer. Examples would be cube root of 1 equals 1, since 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. Cube root of negative 1 equals negative 1, since negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 equals negative 1. So you can see how that continues down for our perfect cube roots. And we're going to do some of those here coming up. Okay? Okay, so here are our notes. You'll see over here, here's those perfect cube roots here on the right. On my screen, on your page, it will be in the middle. But this is your notes for page, or notes number 35 for cube roots. There we go. A cube root of a number is a number when multiplying by itself 3 times equals a given number. Okay, so here is our example. The cube root of 8 equals 2, since 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Note that, unlike square roots, negative numbers have a cube root. Okay, so you could not have the cube root of a negative number, the square root of a negative number, but with a cube root you can, because you'll have that third multiplier, which makes it negative. Okay, so here is our example. Cube root of negative 8 is negative 2, since, look at, here we go, negative 2 times negative 2 equals 4, times negative 2 again equals negative 8. Okay, over here we have our perfect cubes, and right here it goes up to 5, and in just a second we will take that cube root up a little higher. And then here is our example. Volume of a cube equals the side cubed. So that means side times side times side. And that is going to be for a cube where all of the sides are equal. Let's see if I can draw that over here. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty good. So each of these sides are equal, and we can show that by doing these little marks here. And yeah, so you can have side times side times side. And what that does is that gives you a face times the width, and that will give you the volume. Okay, so here is our equation. Volume equals S cubed. So find the length of the side if the volume is 125 meters cubed. So you're going to find the cube root of 125. It's hard to read what that says, but the cube root of 125 is 5, and that is because, so since 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125. Okay? Oops. Okay, so here is our red resource folder right here, our curriculum guide. 2C, this is from, here is our standard here, cube roots. The cube root of a number is a number that when cubed equals the given number. Both positive and negative numbers have cube roots. Perfect cubes have a cube root that is a whole number. So it's not a fraction, it's not a decimal. Okay, here is 1 through 4. And then it says here, note the pattern. The positive perfect cubes are 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 cubed. Therefore, the fifth positive perfect cube is 5 cubed. Right there. Okay, and then down here we also have these negative cube roots right here. And you'll notice they're the same numbers that are up here, but they're just negative. And what that means is their cube root is going to be a negative number. So that does matter with cube roots. All right, moving right along. That brings us to our first assignment. Okay, it says find the cube root of the number. Okay, so if you are using your iPhone, as I am, you do have a cube root on your calculator, and it looks just like this. So it will have cube root of whatever number, and then this is what shows you it's the cube root. Okay, now the last assignment we did square root. So we would have square root of x, and you notice that I don't have the 2 right there, but on my calculator, it would designate it at right there as a square root because we wanted to see that it was squared, not cubed. But if you simply see this radical sign, then you know then that's the square root. All right, let's get started. Okay, find the cube root of the number. 1 and 2 are done for us, and it's showing what we're expecting to see. So number 1, cube root of 8 equals 2. And here is our answer. It's just how we justify it, since 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Number 2, cube root of negative 27 equals negative 3, since, and it tells us the reason why. So it's actually a very easy assignment. I'll go through it quickly. But what's going to take you the longest time is writing out these full answers. And it's just a really good habit to be into, especially going on to high school, because you do need to show your work. Okay, so number 3, we are finding the cube root of a number. So number 3, the number given to us is 1. So we want to know what is the cube root of 1. So cube root of 1 is 1. Since 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. Easy. Okay, that was 3. Now we are on number 4. I think I can fit this on here before I have to erase. So our number is 64, cube root. So the cube root of 64 is 4. And that is, since 4 times 4, which that's 16, times another 4 equals 64. Okay. Number 5. There's 5. So we have a negative 125 And we want the cube root of that. So cube root of negative 125, well, that's going to equal negative 5. And I know that is true since negative 5 times negative 5, I know that that would be a positive 25 times another negative 5, and that is going to equal negative 125. Okay. There we go. Okay, number 6. We have 216. What is the cube root of that? Okay, so now look, I don't have these ones memorized. I'm simply going to use my calculator. 216, turn it sideways. Cube root is 6. And that is since 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Number 7. Oh, let's see here. Yep, there's my answer. Number 7. I need the cube root of 343. Oh, negative. So I already know my answer is going to be negative something. So 343 cube root, it is 7, negative 7. Since negative 7 times negative 7, that makes positive 49, times negative 7 equals negative 343. Delete. Okay, number 8. So number 8 is throwing a fraction at us. 1/1000th. Okay, to find the cube root of that. Well, that is the same as cube root of 1 divided by cube root of 1,000. Well, cube root of 1 is 1. And 1,000 cube root is 10. Okay, and the reason for that is since 1/10 times 1/10 times 1/10 equals 1,000. Easy peasy. Number 9. Oh, easy. Cube root of 0 equals 0 because anything times 0 is 0. So 0 times 0 times 0 equals 0. All right. Number 10. All right. Negative 0.0008 cube root equals, that's kind of hard to read. Okay, so 0.008 cube root is 0.2, 0.2. And so it's like 2/10. So this is 8 thousandths. That's 2/10. Oh, and forgot my negative. Since negative 0.2 times negative 0.2 times negative 0.2 equals negative 0.008. Okay, 2 more. Number 11. cube root of 729. Cube root 729 equals 729. 9. Since 9 times 9, that's 81, times 9 again equals 729. Right? Oh, we are just breezing through these. Number 12, we have the cube root of 0.027, and that equals 0.3 or 3/10. Since 0.3 times 0.3 times 0.3 equals 0.027. That's a 0. Okay, we're all done with that one. Let's move right along. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So we get to do cylinders. I actually really like these problems to find volume. It goes with the cube root. It's kind of neat because we can talk about surface area, which is the outside, or volume, which is how much it holds on the inside. Okay, so right here we are looking at volume of a cylinder. Right here, it wants us to recall. To find the surface area of a prism, we would make a net and then try to find the areas of the rectangle. So you'll see here is the prism, and then if you were to unfold it, it would make this shape, and you are going to add together the surface area of each face. So in the same manner, we're going to do that with a cylinder. And that is here. So if we were to cut a line down one side of our cylinder and kind of unfold this, then it would give us a rectangle in 2 equal circles. Here we have 2 circles and a rectangle. So the dimensions of the rectangle are the height, and you'll see this here is h, and the circumference of the circle. And that's because this length side right here, it goes around the entire circumference of each circle. So that's how you would find that length. Okay, so here are our number 1 formulas. So SA stands for surface area. The surface area is going to be 2 times pi radius squared. There's 2 because there are 2 circles. We have one on top and we have the one on the bottom. Okay, and then times height times 2 pi r. So the height is shown right here. That is our 10. And 2 pi r, that is the formula for the circumference. And circumference is all the way around the edge of a circle. You can also say pi times diameter, because 2r, 2 times the radius, is the diameter. Okay, so plug in the values it gave you. And that gives us, for number 1, a surface area of 351.68 meters cubed. Oh, I'm sorry. Cubed would be volume. Scratch that. Meters squared. Squared is area. Cubed is volume. Sorry. But make sure you do have that label. Okay. All right. And we only have a couple problems. There we go. 3 problems that we have to do. Starting with number 2. Okay, so to look at this, we need to find our surface area, which is SA, we're on number 2. Surface area equals, okay, and that is going to be our surface area of both circles. So it's going to be 2 times, and our surface area is, remember? Oh, come on. There it is. There's our surface area, pi r squared. Oh, did I mess it up? Oh, no, it's still there. All right. All right, pi r squared. So that's pi times radius squared plus, if we were to unwrap this thing, there'd only be one rectangle. So there's only going to be one, and it is length times height. Our length is the circumference, which is 2 pi r. So there we are, 2 pi r times the height. Okay, so now we have two variables. We have r for radius and h for height. So all we have to do is plug in these values and solve. So let's go ahead and do it. Equals 2 times pi times the radius squared. Radius is 8 squared plus the height is 16 times 2 times pi times radius is 8. Okay, so let's simplify. 2 times 8 squared is 64 pi plus 16 times 2 times 8 is 16 pi. So now, here's my calculator. I'm going to have 2 times 64, which is 128. Yes, 128 times pi. Pi is 3.14 plus 16 times 16 is 256. Again, times pi, which is 3.14. Okay, so 128 times 3.14 is 401.92 plus 256 times 3.14 is 803. That's a 0, and I keep doing that. 0.84. Add them together. Equals 1,205.76. Our label is feet. And because it is surface area, it is squared. Okay, so here is our answer. The surface area for number 2 is 1,205.76 feet squared. Here is our answer. Got it. Okay, 2 more. Okay, number 3. Here is our formula. The surface area equals 2, and we need the area of the 2 circles, so that is pi r squared, plus our height is 15. Okay, you'll see it's the sideways height here, and we need the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r. Okay, oh, and I just drew over what my radius is. There we go, it's 4. Okay, let's plug in our values. So equals 2 times pi times the radius squared, so 4 squared, plus 15 times 2 pi times 4. Oh, and I should have made this one here an H just for our formula. That's all right. Okay, so let's solve. Equals 2 times 16 pi, 4 times 4 is 16, plus 15 times, let's see, 2 times 4 is 8 pi equals 32 pi 3.14 plus 15 times 8 is 120 times pi. $100 plus 376.8. Add those together. And we have a surface area of 477.28 centimeters squared. And here's our answer there. Awesome. We have one left, and we know that it has to equal this, 571.48, because that's our final answer. Let's work it out. Okay, number 4. Here is our formula. Surface area equals 2, and that's because we have 2 circles. Area of a circle is pi r squared, plus length times height. So we have a height times 2 pi r. And now that I'm looking at it, we have a diameter. So we don't have to do 2 pi r. We are going to do pi times diameter, because 2r is the diameter. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in. Now for our surface area here, I know that the radius is half the diameter. So if my diameter is 14, then my radius is 7. So 2 times pi times radius squared plus the height is 6 inches times diameter is 14. So I can write it like this, 14 pi equals 2 times 49 pi plus, let's see, I can simplify that. 6 times 14 is 84. 84 pi. So that equals 2 times 49 is 98. So 98 times 3.14 plus 84 times 3.14. And solve. 98 times 3.14 is 307.72 plus 84 times 3.14 equals 200. Yes, honey, hold on one second. I'll get you a snack. All right. Okay. 263.76. Add those together. 307 equals, we did it, 571.48. And our label is inches. So those will be inches squared. All right, it's an easy assignment to start out week 3. I hope you're doing well. I'll see you for part 2. To go through your week, remember who you are, remember what you stand for, and lead by example.